When life gives you lemons, you simply make lemonade. But when space gives you lemons, what do you do then? Hey folks, welcome back to The Deep Cosmos. I am the host of this channel named Devin J. Barrows, and I first want to give a huge thank you for getting me past 10 subscribers. This is a great first milestone, and hopefully we can continue to build this community so we can talk about all things Cosmos and enlighten our perspectives. So thank you, thank you, thank you. For those of you who are newer to the channel, I currently hold a master's degree in physics, and I plan on going back for a PhD in either physics or astronomy, but I do have astrophysics research experience, and I'm currently an adjunct professor teaching physics and astronomy. With that all being said, this will be the first video on the channel of a new series called Astro News, where I react to the newest astronomy headlines and break it down for you all. So, without further ado, what is the Astro News? One of the first major headlines I want to talk about came out on December 16th of 2025 when the James Webb Space Telescope discovered a lemon-shaped exoplanet. This oddly shaped object is orbiting what we call a pulsar, which I'll get into in a little bit. But the name of this exoplanet is PSR J2322-2650b. A bit of a mouthful, but there's meaning to it, right? So PSR in the beginning is an abbreviation for pulsar, which is what the exoplanet is orbiting. The J and the numbers after it is a way to tell astronomers where to find it in the sky. It's kind of like a coordinate system of the night sky, which is called right ascension and declination. We can get to that into a different video if you want me to explain that. It's a whole different thing. And then finally, B is to denote that the exoplanet is the sub-object, and the pulsar itself has that same exact name without the B attached at the end, so that would be the main pulsar. So there you go, that's the full name. The first thing I want to get into with this is the elephant in the room, which is why do we have this oddly lemon-shaped planet, right? Normally planets are spheres and they don't have this oblong shape. Okay, first of all, most planets actually are not complete spheres. Earth, for example, if you're being really technical, is called a oblate spheroid, which means that it is sphere-like, right? But at certain points in its structure, it's a little oblong, it's a little longer. It's extremely minuscule to us. It practically is perfectly spherical, right? But there's little deviance in there, right? So let's get that out of the way. But now onto this exoplanet. It's so lemon-like, or I guess football-like if you're into American football. It's like that because it's so close to the pulsar. It's 1 million miles away, which sounds like, wow, that's not close at all. But like I said in my first video, space is vast, right? Earth from the sun, if you're talking about that distance, that's 93 million miles away. So compare that distance to the distance we have here, which is just 1 million miles away, is super small, cosmologically speaking. So when you get really close to this pulsar, the gravity is a lot stronger. Okay, pulsars themselves, let's talk about that for a little bit. This will provide some context. Pulsars are not only really massive, they're really small, okay? They are essentially the size of a city like New York. They are the size of that. They are vastly smaller than Earth itself. But the mass that is in that object is the mass of a typical star. So all of that mass of a star is being crushed down into this super, super small point, making the object extremely dense and making the gravity extremely strong. So when you have that kind of object in combination with an exoplanet orbiting super close to it, cosmologically speaking, we would get something like a super long stretched out lemon-like shape that you're seeing. And this gets astronomers thinking about what kind of object this really is. In terms of the International Astronomical Union, this is an exoplanet, right? Back in 2006, these were the folks that decided the rules of what a planet would be, what defines a planet, and they're kind of the end-all be-all of where certain objects fit in terms of labels, right? So that's great, it's an exoplanet, but what's more important is how it formed in the first place, what characteristics are happening on the planet, and would this actually lead us to determining a new kind of object that we've never labeled before? When the James Webb Space Telescope did this and probed the Lemon exoplanet's atmosphere, it noticed that it was mostly made of molecular carbon. Now, this of course doesn't seem too crazy or anything, but the fact is that it's mostly pure carbon. We've seen molecules here on Earth and other planets in our solar system, like Venus, that have carbon dioxide or CO2, but this molecule of course involves both carbon and oxygen, CO2. And we're seeing with this Lemon exoplanet that it's mostly pure carbon, C2 or C3, no oxygen, no nitrogen at all, just carbon. This is extremely unique for a planet's atmosphere, let alone the lemon-like structure, and astronomers are still trying to figure out why it's like this and how this kind of atmosphere formed in the first place. Out of the roughly 6,000 known exoplanets, it is the first gas giant-like planet to be discovered orbiting a pulsar. When I say gas giant, you can think planets like Jupiter or Saturn, similar to that nature, right? And it's the first time we've seen a planet like that orbiting a pulsar. We've discovered exoplanets that are like Jupiter. Some are even called hot Jupiters. That could be a whole different topic. But again, not in these conditions. And this combined with the lemon shape of the planet, right? And the atmosphere of carbon, it has a lot of unique things going for it. And I'm so excited to see what other discoveries come out of this object. One last thing I want to note here is its orbit. Like I said, this exoplanet is extremely close to its host pulsar, cosmologically speaking. So for the entire time it takes for this exoplanet to orbit once around the pulsar, it is only 7.8 hours. It orbits the pulsar in hours, less than a day on Earth. Wow. This will give the James Webb Telescope so much more information going through multiple orbits of this planet, so we can figure out how it's interacting with its host pulsar and maybe give us more clues on the characteristics of this exoplanet. So, our future's looking bright with this object. I would normally try and go into other minor astronomy headlines, but they're currently holding the 247th meeting of the AAS, which is the American Astronomical Society, as we speak, from January 4th to January 8th. And once this whole week of events is over and more astronomy news and discoveries comes out to the press, I will have a lot more to go over and much more concrete things that scientists are saying to the press to dispel to you all. The one thing I will say about my perspective on this Lemon exoplanet news is that it's really a great example of the frontier of science. There's a brand new object, right? We don't know much about it besides what we just now know about its atmosphere, its orbit around its object maybe, right? Its shape, we can figure that out, but we don't know why, how it formed, all of its characteristics, the atmosphere of how it got the way it is, everything. There's a lot of questions. So if you're disappointed in the fact that there's not a lot of answers in this news, then I can understand that. But a lot of times in science, it's more fun to actually figure out the questions to be asked. When you're a researcher on the frontier, you are at that boundary of what we know and what we don't know. So a lot of that is asking those questions as a scientist. So with that being said, when space gives you lemons, we ask questions about them. And then we make lemonade. If you're going to go out there and look for astronomy news on your own, which I highly encourage you to do, please be advised. A lot of the time when you're going through news like this, the headlines can be very misleading, right? In this case, it's not super misleading with the Lemon exoplanet, but it can lead you to think that certain things are true when in fact they're not, taking scientists' words and misconstruing them. So it's kind of unfortunate. I get it in the fact that you want to have your hook, to have people read your articles and get more people on the website, on the news article, whatever it is, but there's other ways of doing this. And that's actually part of the reason why I made this channel, to clear up those kinds of headlines that can be, unfortunately, misleading. So just be careful when you're doing this. Make sure that whatever headline it is, it's being put out by multiple trusted sources, whether that be an educational website or the source itself at the bottom has its citations, it has where it got the information from, and it's not just one blaring headline that's trying to get you to just read the article. With that all being said, I hope you enjoyed my first installation of Astro News. Please leave a comment below on what you are excited about with this lemon exoplanet, or just other astronomy news in general that you're excited about and maybe even want me to talk about on this channel. Until next time, think deep. See ya.